the whole session. So good evening. I hope you had a great day earlier on. I hope you have started building for productivity throughout the hackathon. And also we had a great session in the morning. We had two amazing senior software engineers who joined us and share from the world of experience, their own hackathon experience, and also building in an hackathon, just best practices and stuff like that. And so that insightful session. So this evening we also having an amazing person join us to speak around hackathon experience building an hackathon, but from a product end, not from an engineering end. She's a senior product manager who have like say amazing experience from moving from design, from marketing, like when we talk about product management, it definitely is someone who understands design, data analysis, and the ability to collaborate and drive result. Again, it's amazing to have devs and designers, but you need someone that will be able to like make those two things work and produce an amazing product. So she's in center of that. She's also um just basically will work around various industries. So from retail to cloud management, to event management, to payment, to data. So again, those building around various industries for the hackathon. She's coming from a lot of experience across various industry. Is not a person that Jadesola. Hi, can you hear me? Are you on the call?
Yep, I'm here. Hello.
Uh, yeah, hi, I can hear you. Perfect, I can hear you. So I
Hi.
usually love using this word every time, right? Every time I host is usually I'm a product of greatness. So I think
Mm.
by the end of this hackathon, I have
Mm.
met a lot of amazing and great people. So looking forward to connecting with everyone. But yeah,
Mm.
so I have like a couple of questions for you, right? Regarding, building products for in an
Hello.
hackathon setting.
Just can you confirm you can see me?
I can see you, I can hear you.
Okay, great.
Yeah, I
Hello.
can, yeah. So I have like a couple of questions, right? So regarding building an hackathon for like in a short span. So
Mhm.
earlier on today we had amazing people who shared experience but from an engineering perspective, right? Also, we're looking at getting this conversation around the products from a product angle. So I got a
Yeah.
couple of one, right? So why building for an hackathon is like a short period of time. It is intense, and
Hmm.
basically have to build an MVP. So from
Yeah.
your experience, right? How could hackers or people participating in hackathon, right? Set and manage milestone and keep track of what they are building in a short period of time.
Yeah. That's a good question, but I want us to take a step back a bit, because even though you have a short period of time, it's still important to follow like best practices, right? So from a framework perspective, and I'll touch on the development process, the product development process. So there are different frameworks for this. There's the design thinking framework that designers use when they want to take a product from, 0 to 1. The one I like to use the most, and I mean, frameworks can be very long, but I like to keep it short and simple and sweet, right? And it's 5 things, right? So there's the product discovery, there's the ideation phase, there's the design, there's the development, and then your launch. Even though you have a very short period of time, it is still important to follow these things because there's benefit. There's a benefit of following these things. One of which is, take for example, in the product discovery phase, when you have a good idea, you don't just want to jump into building it. There's always that maybe it's pressure, or there's always that notion that, if you have a fantastic idea, you're building the next Facebook or the next Netflix. It's always sweet to just kind of jump into it. But with the discovery phase, why it is important and why you must take a step back is sometimes, even though your idea is fantastic, you think is the next best thing after sliced bread. It's important to take a step back to think of it, is this something people actually want? Is this something that if I were to build it today, people would pay for it? Even though it's a hackathon, right? You're building something in 5 days. You never can tell. Maybe after the hackathon, whoever you present to might like the idea so well, you know. But for this to happen, you must have done that background work, you must have done the research. And what this would look like is really knowing your user, what they like, what their pain points are. And I mean, all this sounds cliche, right? Because if you go onto the internet, I promise you, you will find these things, but it's important to do it. You should not skip this step. Finding out who your user is, knowing about the market, who are the competitors in that market, what are they doing wrong currently that you can, you know, use as a unique selling point later down the line, right? So it's important that even though it's 5 days, you still have to do this, you still have to follow this process. And the most important thing, I think, when I think of this bit, I think about what makes a good product. So what makes a good product is not something that's flashy or something that ticks certain boxes. If you take products like Nairaland, Spotify, Uber, Netflix, and you ask, what is it that they have in common? If you say they have fantastic design or a great user experience, that already takes Nairaland out of the race, right? Because I would say Nairaland is like a product that a lot of people have tried to redesign over and over again, but the founder keeps shutting it down. You know why? Because what they have works for them. And why does it work? It solves a problem, right? So that's one thing these products have in common, and that's what makes it a good product. If you skip your discovery phase, you would not be able to find out what the exact problem it is you're solving for. So 5 days, 10 days, whatever that is, when you are presenting, you need to show us that this solution stems from all your research that you've done that ties to a problem. And then you have your ideation as well, your ideation phase, where it's like, just looking at solutions for the problem that you've identified, and then design, development, and launch. So yeah, I'll say that's a great place to start from.
Awesome. That's great, right? So I have a follow-up question for that, right? So using the short frame, the first short time you have, right? What do you think are best practices, right? Participant could be able to use to do market research and just conduct this research. The best practice to do that, the fastest way to do it during a short period of time.
Um, to be honest, I would say you have to be very creative. Like even in an ideal world where, there's a founder in a startup, and they don't have a lot of money, they don't have a lot of time, they want to get to the market quick. Everyone has to be very creative. You have to hack your way through it pretty much. That's where growth hacks got its name from. You have to hack your way, you have to be very creative. And in the short time that you have, it will be best to still speak to people, even if it is one person, two people, get your ideas very clear, identify the problem it is that you're solving. And then my go-to, everyone knows this about my go-to is always to have like a form or a questionnaire, right? Especially with younger people, it's easier to circulate these things. I've seen a lot of times, I'm just scrolling on Twitter and I'm seeing someone has posted the link to their survey, right? All you need is, at this stage for the hackathon, in an ideal world, you probably need like a larger sample size. But at this stage, even if it is one person, you speak to people. I always reference Twitter a lot because minus all the jokes and the banter and all the violence and all that stuff young people go on and on about, Twitter is actually a very good resource for doing research, because the way the platform has been built is been built for people to have conversations about the things that are frustrating them. If you're building a a competitor product to Uber, as an example, you would go online and you see how people are complaining about traffic, transport, how much it costs. People are sharing their problems daily on Twitter. So that's something I do. If there's something I'm interested in and it fits the user group, so let's say 18 to like 25 or 30, thereabouts, I would go on Twitter, I'll search for it. So that's where you can start from. Use the tools you have. Twitter is a very, very good resource. Speak to users, speak to people who have gone ahead of you as well. If there are mentors that you can, speak to, they always have that oversight. Send out surveys. pretty much use the tools you have with you. You can also put your survey link on like your WhatsApp status. There's so many ways to do these things. So yeah, that's how I'll go about it.
Okay, perfect. I think that sounds great. So again, most participants of the hackathon might have started building already, even without passing through this research and stuff like that. So from your experience, right? So if they're already building already, what are best ways for them to integrate this feedback? Let's say, for example, after this call, then I start going out to do research and stuff like that to see
Mhm.
how people react to the product. What are best ways for them to integrate into that development cycle at this moment?
I'll say the first step is just pause. If you've started, that's fine. I mean, again, we all think we're building the next Netflix or the next Facebook. It's fine, right? A lot of builders have made mistakes in the past. They have, taken the shortcuts. It's not too late to, just slow down and look at it again. I'll take the most important thing is identifying that you are solving a problem. It's not something you just pulled from your heart. It's not something that the Holy Spirit dropped in your heart or something. I mean, yeah, the Holy Spirit is great like that, right? But you need to be sure if there's anything you need to get right, is that you are solving a problem. So start from there. If that is fine, if you are sure that you're solving a problem, you've done some research to validate that this is something that actually exists. Everything else is pretty much secondary. You can I'll say that pretty much that's the most important part. Be sure that you're solving a problem. If not, then you kind of need to take several steps back. And if you've started building on the back of the fact that you are solving a problem, I would say that if there's a bit of time, you could also just try to get feedback from a couple of people you've identified are potential users. That's probably the best way to get feedback, early feedback from real users, right? If you have I don't know, 30 minutes, you've started building something or you've built something, find someone, spend 30 minutes just running the idea by them, what they think. Please don't necessarily speak to your best friend. They might not give you like the actual advice you want to hear or constructive advice, right? Try to go a bit outside your circle and find someone that fits the user profile you've built, speak to them, get that feedback and iterate. I think that's probably a tip I should be giving guys, right? It'll be nice to let's say on the final day when you're presenting, show that foresight that you've actually spoken to real users. This is the feedback you got, and this is how you iterated on that feedback. Yeah.
Awesome, awesome. I think that's great. So I think I have one more question, right? Before we open it for participants to ask the question they have. So if you do have any question, please do it to raise your hand on call. Also just drop them on the chat, right? We want to make this as conversation as possible. The last one I asked for you is basically around choosing features. Again, it's an hackathon. We want to build an MVP, the as low as possible, as fast as possible too, right? What are things we have to look at when choosing features we want to release for our product? Let's want to build the next Netflix. Yes, amazing. But part of which feature are we picking first of all, and how do we segregate from the most important to the less important in choosing features in building an MVP for an hackathon?
There are several frameworks to get to that point. But I think the one that comes to mind is there's a way when you're building products, there's a way you break down your features, just putting them into buckets. They are the critical ones that you must have to launch a product. They are the ones that are, oh, we can do this in a V1. That's the next version. There are ones that are nice to have. If you're using Netflix as an example, or let me use Uber, because I think that's everyone's familiar with Uber. If Uber were to start over again, or if there was a competitor that was building something like Uber, of course they will build the functionality that allows you to book rides on the app, as opposed to a feature like allowing people to have credits or have like a wallet on the app. The most functional thing is allowing people to book rides on the app. So whatever your product is, if it is a productivity tool, maybe for note taking, you would want to build the functionality that allows people to take notes in the app, as opposed to maybe some AI-enabled feature or some social sharing feature, right? So that is how you should approach it. What is the most functional thing that you could build? What is that feature that your app cannot do without? Like it's basically useless if you were to release your app without that feature. That's the way to go.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for sharing that. Okay, I think the final one before we go to questions is around so what are various okay, first up, okay, before I ask the question, right, let me just throw this simple one, this amazing one to you, right? Have
Mm.
you posted an hackathon before?
No, I have not, but I've had a hand in, building a couple, like from a setting it up perspective. I haven't actually participated in a hackathon yet. It's interesting. I would someday, but I haven't.
Okay. So I was looking at asking around, in a fast-paced environment. Again, you might have you might you have,
Mm.
build product in a fast-paced environment. It must have happened.
Yeah,
They will have to ship very, very fast, right?
yeah.
So it's basically around from your experience, right? I do people, or how do you feel like team members, me personally in hackathon, either developers or designers, could be
Mhm.
able to, like, manage time very well while
Mm.
they are building, and also are able to stay focused while building. And some are just even ship that you should have really started for HackOps.
Yes, so to your question, it's how people building in a fast-paced environment or in a fast-paced setting like a hackathon, how do they stick to timelines? Was that the question?
Yeah, and also maintain, like, like, let me use the word good at it, so they don't have to overwork themselves. Why building? So like that balance. When you use the word work-life balance, hackathon life balance.
Yeah, that's an interesting concept. I'll answer the first part, which is, sticking to timelines and just seeing that through. If anyone knows me, they know that I'm a stickler for documentation. As one of the best practices, I try to, imbibe in any team I'm on or whatever I'm doing, document for for a lot of people and a lot of places I've been. And it's no one's fault because things are moving so fast. Imagine you're trying to ship something and there's someone telling you should come and be writing documentation. It doesn't make sense. But there's a reason why people before us have said documentation is important. And what it helps you do is things don't live in your head. Just imagine this scenario where you want to communicate something to someone, maybe someone you've had a fight with or just anyone, right? And in your head, you know how it is going to go, you know what it is you want to say. But for whatever reason, you decide to write it down. And then you start to think, this would be better if I say this here. Or if writing just helps your thoughts be better. And it helps for building in the future or being able to reference things, right? I say this in relation to timelines in the sense that especially if you're building within a team or you're building with other developers, other designers, once you're able to write down things clearly, it's easier for you not to stumble as you go forward, right? There's not a lot of time, I know, but it helps if you are able to just articulate what it is, especially from that problem statement standpoint, being able to write it in plain words that this is what you're solving for. These are the features we're going to cover. This is what we're going to do. Maybe if you want to write the user journey, right? Now, the thing with timelines is when you're building, sometimes it's not really about the time, it's about the alignment. Is everyone in the team aligned on what you're doing? Someone might be doing X, someone might be doing Y, someone might be, you get the point, right? But if it is properly documented, there's somewhere you can always go. Everyone has agreed that this is what we're doing. You can always reference it when you hit roadblocks or whatever, right? So I would say that that's one of the things you should do. Also, don't build in silos. If you're in a team, that means like building, you just go off on your own. I get that you might want to have like focus time, but it's important not to build in silos. It's important to take into consideration how your team members think or what they feel about whatever it is that you're building, right? Um, and the same goes for when you are in an actual company. One of the key skills of a developer or a designer is collaboration. You need to be, it seems very easy to say, and it seems like, yeah, everyone should know that, but in the real world, it's not usually like that. So it's nice that as part of this experience is something you cultivate, being able to collaborate and being able to work with your team. Once you have that sync, that alignment, it will be easier to meet timelines quicker. I don't know what, I can't remember what your second question was, but yeah, I hope I answered the question.
Yeah, I think that basically covered it.
Mm.
Right. So I think I'm seeing some couple of questions, but let me just, there's this thing that just came into my mind, right? Regarding people don't really value, like use the word value product management while building products from an hackathon. No shade, sorry, no shade.
Oh, I know.
From an hackathon perspective, right? I'm not saying from a product perspective, you're building a product to
Yeah.
hackathon
Yeah.
perspective, right? So they all
Mhm.
feel like, a developer, so I need a developer and the front end, the back end. There's a mobile person now, so then I need a designer, right? I'm good, I'm fine. This product management for product management people, right? So can you share like a real life um experience or story, how product management have saved the day regarding building and launching a product
Mhm.
faster and better?
Yeah. That's a really good question. And honestly, yeah, I know it's no shade. It's just people think that product managers just cross our leg, put it on table and every day that's just what we're doing. I wish that's what it was, but I mean, not really. So in the framework I'd mentioned, product discovery, even though the entire product development process is collaborative, is a team effort, the truth is in that first instance, like the discovery phase, a lot of it typically falls on whoever is leading products. So a product manager, a product owner, right? And I might be biased towards that phase because that's where the product manager is most needed. Because when it gets to design and development, the product manager does not factor into all those places. Now becomes like a management conversation. But for the discovery phase, where is like, did they just take like
Nigeria just happened to me, literally.
wow, interesting. Yeah. Yes, we need to come together and solve that problem. But anyway, yes, the discovery phase is very important because it lays foundation for what needs to be done. Yes, people can say anybody can do that, but really, can everybody do that? Really? So that all jokes aside, that phase is very important when you are seeking out what the problems are. Most times for product managers, even though our skills are not, sometimes it's not like there's physical stuff to show for it. Like for designers, you can show UI screens, for developers, you can show an app. But for product managers, is that we've built ourselves with these skills, such as doing proper research, being able to talk to users, being able to structure plans. Not everyone can do that. It's just the truth is what I've seen. Everyone is great at what they do in the specific thing they're doing. Designers are good with designing, developers are good with developing, or HTML, CSS, all that technical stuff. But for product managers, it's our skills sets that we've built up are very important in specific parts of the development process. Again, yes, it is the hackathon. Yes, you have 5 days, but this is an exercise that pretty much prepares you for the real world. In the real world, where you are not just building something for the sake of building it, there are real users, there are real stakeholders. This is where product management or product managers really shine, because they're skilled to talk to users, they're skilled to draw those insights from the conversations, they're skilled to talk to stakeholders and make decisions. So I would say that yes, right now it might not seem that way, but like outside in the real world, and again, when it comes to scaling a product, that's where we really shine. We're the business people, we're the money people. you know I rest my case.
Wow. I have a comment. Let me just put the comment. I just saw I saw Samuel's comment, right? Well,
Eh, I saw
Let
it
me,
too.
yeah, let's leave it at that, right? I will have like the side comments. But yeah, we have like a question. Let me just like let's just jump into the question thing. We still have some time. From Olayinka. Thanks so much for sharing amazing tips. How can someone prioritize a project and maintain focus? Because sometimes I tend to lose focus on the problem I'm trying to solve. So right, I
Okay.
think it's come from a perspective of how can you maintain focus? Why, why building a product? Because again, it tends to be tiring at some point. It tends to be confusing because you feel like you are shipping too many things at the same time, but not really seeing what you're doing because of like the short period of time.
Okay, so maintaining focus, I understood it as something else. So is it that, because this question says maintaining focus, is it from a distractions point of view or having too many features and not knowing which one to pick?
So let's see if we can have him on stage. So maybe
Like,
like
yeah, if you can ask your question, maybe unmute yourself and ask your question, because there are
uh,
different answers depending on what it is you're asking.
yeah, in different contexts. Hi Olayinka, can you unmute yourself and just ask?
Yeah, yeah. Good evening. So, yeah, what I'm trying to say is like, from a distraction point of view, like for example, there are sometimes that I want to build something like solve, like I was going to solve a particular problem, but I'm going to just try to like make some research and just realize that oh, this stuff does not really make sense like that. So I'll just make research and check out some people that have already built something better that I'm trying to solve. So I'll just be distracted and just focus on not doing it again and just think or just stop working on it.
Okay, that sounds like that might be a productivity issue as well, which is kind of what we're solving for, right? So maybe you want to look into solving that particular problem. But um, I would say for me, the way I handle distractions, I would say my attention span is next to nothing. Um, but I'm sure everyone has heard of it. It's not something groundbreaking. It's the Pomodoro technique. And it's basically it's basically time boxing yourself to focus on a particular task at a certain point. For those people that don't get distracted, they can just focus on what they're doing. They don't know what the Lord has done for them. For the rest of us, you kind of need a little bit of help. Oh, okay. Okay. I would guess I'm just hearing that maybe not a lot of people know about the Pomodoro technique. Okay, so there are a bunch of apps that help you do this, but it's a very, 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 very simple concept. And the apps that I use are also very, very, very simple. Um, it's like I said, you can set depending on how long you want to focus for, but the idea behind it is you focus for X amount of minutes or an hour or whatever, and then you get once you finish that time block. So let's say 25 minutes. I use 45 minutes. So 45 minutes, I focus on one task, and then I get a 10 minutes break. All of this is programmed on the app. But the idea is that you focus and then you get 10 minutes to look at TikTok or look at Twitter or look at whatever is trending on the internet, right? Once that 10 minutes is up, you need to get back to focusing on what you're doing. So that might be something you want to explore. It's most of the apps, they gamify it in such a way that as you're progressing, as you're focusing on the task, there's also like something in the app that's tracking it. So at the end of the day, it always makes me feel really good when I find out that I have been focused for about 6 hours, but I still got time in between to like press my phone and check. It's just that it's controlled. So you might want to look at that. Try doing that. I don't know if that helps. But just take it easy on yourself and give yourself grace. That's also very important. There's someone, Mr. Olayinka, I hope I've answered your question. If you have any further questions, you can always DM me. And I would answer as best as I can. There's a bunch of them. I think the one I use currently is called It's actually called Pomodoro. That's just the name. But someone has put a link in the chat box, so that's great. Very, very helpful. Someone has the hands raised up.
Yeah, Clement.
Yeah, exactly.
Hi, Clement. Do you mind unmuting and asking a question?
Hello.
Technical. Are you hearing me?
Yeah,
Yes,
I can
yes.
hear you.
Okay. The question I have is technical. Can
Okay.
I ask?
Okay.
I'm sure the
Okay.
technical people. I'm not the
When do you,
Alex is here, so you can answer. Alex, sorry, please, Clement. Let me just confirm that Alex is here. Hi, Alex. Are you here?
I see one earlier on.
Oh,
or
yeah.
ask
You can
again?
ask. In case anybody has the answers. I see people putting
Okay.
links and answers to stuff. Yeah, please go on.
It was during my registration of the time for the hackathon. I registered for the first phase. I deployed the code and I committed the same repository. Then I forgot to complete the second phase of the registration. Am I still registering for hackathon?
Okay, I think this not like the thought around the technical I was not really around the technical you were like driving towards. But I think let me see if um okay, let me see if someone is on the call that could do that. I think basically that's a no though. I think that's a no. I'm not sure that does not work. I'm not sure you're part of it. Is a I think let me see if Don is on the call. If you like, you could share more light into that. Give me a
See,
minute.
hi, can you hear me?
Oh, yeah, I can hear you.
So,
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, I think someone wants to address that.
Oh, awesome. Ah,
Yeah, hi. Good evening. Yes, Clement, your question. Unfortunately, for you to successfully register for the hackathon, you have to complete, both steps, right? And if you were not able to do that, I'm sorry to say that you cannot, participate in the hackathon. I'm so sorry, but that's just the way things are.
so I think basically that answers your question. I think we have like two other hands raised. Hi, Joshua.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right. So my question is, say peradventure I make it to top 25 of the hackathon, and then I am told to present my work. What angle do you think would be best to go about presenting? Would I present it as a product of the hackathon, or should I present it as an actual product for say investors?
Hi, Joshua. Yeah, your question, can you come again? So what's the best way to present it, as a product that you built in the hackathon or as a real product? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, since because it's like for a specific for a specific reason and within the confines of the hackathon, it will be best that you are presenting something you built in the hackathon, right? And following the criteria that's been set. So building for productivity. I know that there are specific industries as well. So you have to follow those things. It's not just about building a product, it's building it within the confines of the criteria that's been given.
Okay, so it's kind of like this. So we've been told, I think during the first meeting on Twitter, one of our hosts said something about so one of the things you want to say when you're presenting, he said something about you talk about how you could monetize your idea and all that stuff. Now, those things kind of don't exactly tie into your the hackathon per se, because they are they go more broad to let's say you want to implement your idea, and also like that's where I'm trying to understand.
Oh yeah. I have someone on the hackathon team that could answer that. But if I hear you correctly, I would say that that is fine. The advice, I was not on that session, but the advice the person gave you probably works as well. Well, all I'm just saying is that it needs to tie back
We
to
have more persons coming in. Yeah, more persons are coming in. That's fine. That's cool.
hello. Can you guys hear me? Oh, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that works as well. All I'm just saying is that what you're building has to tie back to like the criteria and the let's say rules that were laid out, if that makes sense. But there's also someone from the team here that should be able to answer.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can quickly just add to that. So we're actually going to two things. First of all, I think on Monday also we're actually going to have an office hour around design, which would also address the design of your decks. And naturally we plan to have a session concerning how to to sell and pitch your idea. However, it's supposed to be for the finalists, right? So what I'm going to say is, I'm going to wish you good luck, because we don't have the luxury of having that session during this hack period, right? During this prelim stages. um so, but yes, we're going to have a session where we'll walk you through how to structure your story in order for it to make sense to an investor, right? To teach you exactly how to structure your pitch deck, and then how to even share your idea on stage, right? So I think that would definitely help you, if you want to articulate exactly how to position your your solution and idea to make sense to somebody who wants to invest, or somebody who want to take money from. But yes, it is going to be for the finalists. Unfortunately, we can't fit in that into this first stage.
All right.
So Joshua, all the best.
That answers my question. Yeah.
Right. Yeah,
Awesome.
I didn't get the context of what you were asking. Apologies.
That's great. I think we have like two hands. They're still up. Hi, Joseph.
Hello.
Yeah,
Evening. Can you hear me?
yeah. Can I hear you?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so basically, we had this great idea, this honestly hackathon was great thing for us to, enter
I'm not sure. Is that only me? Can anyone hear him?
into this thing that we can actually create value for the lives of the target market, the target audience. So I was wondering, since we are more looking into how we can monetize, how we can make form a type of thing. So not just to get idea, but what's the best practice? What strategy can you give? What advice can you give on how we can optimize the opportunity to achieve that and how we can get to
I
the
can't
next
really
level?
hear
Yeah.
Hi, Joseph. Hi, Joseph. So you're kind of like
Yeah,
breaking. You're kind of like breaking. So can you like
I'm
go by?
breaking.
Yeah,
You're kind of like go
Okay,
by.
okay,
chat box maybe.
okay. Yeah, so I was saying when we saw when we saw this hackathon opportunity, it was a great one for us to come in and do the work as well. But along the line of the project, and we saw that this idea that we had could actually create maximum value for the people target market basically. And since then, our thoughts have graduated from just a hackathon project and idea to more of a startup and how we can improve this idea, something take it to the next level, basically. So one thing with this thought in our mind, how can we? What are the best practices for us to use to achieve this, or what strategies do you have? Any advice for us to achieve this?
Okay, I think I got the question. Well, I'll ask Sam to respond to that. So, Sam, I think what Joseph is basically saying is, when they started the hackathon, they had an idea, but going through the hackathon, it's become bigger than what they planned, and they're thinking of, or they're asking for best practices on how to move forward with what they have. It's gone beyond the idea they initially started with. There's potential to offer more value for the target audience.
Yeah, Jay, this is a this is a product question now.
Okay, now, product of markets,
I
and
beg, okay, Joseph, I think that's wonderful, actually. That your idea has morphed into something even more interesting, right? But understanding that you have the constraints of the hackathon, you may be forced to stick with what the MVP is, right? MVP is relative. If we're looking at it from a product and say launch perspective, MVP is relative. Our Alex, my CTO, will say we just launched our MVP. Meanwhile, a year ago we launched. So, but then in context of you, I believe you already have an idea of what you planned to roll out, right? The feature set you plan to roll out in your context, right? MVP being you have an idea that does or that is supposed to help X user do ABC, right? If you have resolved that, the feature set you have originally outlined will facilitate, that user being able to do ABC. Good, right? If you think, so, that should be like your first priority, finishing out those features you have already outlined. If you think that, or if you believe that there's a lot more that can come into, what you are delivering, finish the first half of it first of all. So you have that in check. Then you can now say, okay, what else can we add in the short time or in the remaining time that we have? You can resolve that between yourselves and work towards adding that. Now, the best case scenario is you are part of the finalists. So the whole idea of taking you to the next stage is actually that in the next hack day, which is going to be one day, you're going to be implementing some of these things that you think would improve the overall experience of your MVP, right? So, that's the ideal case, but then if I'm not saying you are going to get into that stage, so you just work with what you have currently. If there's room to add more, proceed to doing that with caution, right? But what is most important is your MVP. You say you're building something for a type of user to be able to do something. You have to build out all the features that would facilitate that user being able to do that thing, right? And let it stop there. If there's room to do more, fine. If not, please halt. Keep it simple, and make it functional. Yeah, thank you.
I do have, let's say, not an opposing answer, but something to add to that is, once you've checked all the boxes for the features that make your product functional. Even though you feel like this could be bigger, the advice is always to keep it simple. And whatever time you have, if you can speak to actual users, I would rather spend that time doing that than going to build something on top of what I have. Right. If you do make it into the second stage, like Sam has said, that stage is for iterating on maybe any feedback that you've received, adding to your product, then would now be the time to add to what you have to make it better. So in that case, if you've taken out time to speak to people, they give you some feedback, then you can take that feedback to make your product better. Because at the end of the day, it's not just about collecting features like how Thanos collects Infinity Stones. It's about actually making adding value for your customers, even if it is just one feature that you do really well. That is enough. That is enough. As far as it solves a problem, that is enough. So yeah, that's what I wanted to add. Yeah, that's all from me.
Okay. Amazing concept from both ends. I think we have like one final question before call it a wrap. Hi, Ebube Ebuka.
Hello, can you hear me? Good evening.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, thank you very much. So I wanted to come back confirming something. This hackathon, is it for, let's say, experienced developers or just for beginners? Which of them?
Anybody really, as far as you're learning, I mean, you can code, you can develop a product. You don't have to be like experienced. You just need to know what it is that you're doing and being able to see it through. That's pretty much it. Even I think the fresher the better. For fresher set of eyes, for fresher set of ideas. It's great. Anybody's welcome, to be honest. Yeah.
Okay, guys. Okay, no problem. Thank you for the response. First and foremost, I moved into the tech space 4 months ago. And I'll say that I dropped a message on the support channel going to 36 hours now. And up to now, no response from them.
Oh.
And secondly, the language they make use of on that support channel is not that. Outside the language is very, very big. Me that I'm not like moving to text here 4 months ago. So some language are very strange to me. Understand, ba? So now this is my question. There's a saying that what you don't know is bigger than you. Yeah. If the pipe up CTO can answer my question for me, he has made my weekend. Firstly, I'm building my front end with Byte on the pipes up dashboard. I selected Byte as a framework. It showed failed. Then I selected React.js and it worked perfectly well. But when I click on the link on the landing page and navigate to a page on my deployed link, it appeared and disappeared immediately. That is my first question. And secondly, I'm always getting this constant 503 error. And thirdly, PipeUp is a new hosting platform. If they can make a user guide for us, we beginner, how to easily understand it. I'm not here to win the prize. I'm going to talk about what an experience or how hackathon works. That is all. So
Yeah.
you can put me by the hand and show me how to do it on my dashboard. Fine, it's good by me. That is just my question because these things are very, very strange to me. It's my first time use of PipeUp's hosting platform. I'm used to Vercel, Netlify, and Vendor, which work perfectly well for me. So if you can put me through, no problem. I've sent him countless message on the Slack channel, no response from him.
Okay. Ebuka. I think Alice is on the call. I think Alice wants to throw more light on it. Hi, Alice, can you hear me?
Hi, Ebuka. Hi, Ebuka. Good evening. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you, Alex. I can hear you.
Great. Is Ebuka still here?
Yeah, it's still here.
Okay, let's wait for him.
Yeah, it's not on the call. It's on the call. It's on the call.
Yeah,
Oh, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yes, I can hear you perfectly well.
First of all, apologies for the experience and the stress we've had to go through. Um, we are not always like that. Just that it's been a lot of thing going on right now. So how about we just after the call just get on your Slack or do take a look at this and get it fixed. I'm sure with a few conflicts on the PipeOps console, your project should be up and running.
Nice.
Once again, apologies. Thank you.
Awesome, amazing. I think everything at this will definitely not make your evening. I think the city is not trying to jump on a call with you, so this definitely will make your evening. So thank you very much, Alex, for doing this. Let's see if we have other. Wow, you want to join this Slack or two? Wow. Okay, let's see if we have any other question on the chats. I'm not sure. Okay, I think it's the product for course. I think okay. I think we have none in the chat. Um, thank you very much for joining us. Really appreciate everyone for spending this time with us during this office hour. It's great to see people who joined us yesterday and also joined us today in the morning and also joining us this evening. It's amazing to also have you guys ask a lot of question regarding what you are building and also getting feedback into how to build with the product focus in mind. Okay, I think we also have like a few information to be passed around by Alice and Ola. So I think let's just allow them do that before we do like a conclusion um of our session today. Hi Alice.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear.
All right, great. We've been listening to you guys' feedback on the Slack community, and we've been reiterating and retooling things behind the scene on our hand. So I think we got a feedback on being able to change the default domain that PipeOps generates for every deployment. So I'm excited to share with us that we've been working on that, and by Monday we'll have that shipped out, so you guys can customize your current PipeOps domain name to maybe your product name .pipeups.app, and you get like you'll be able to send a more fancy name to the audience either on Twitter and the likes. So yeah, thank you.
Awesome, awesome. That's nice. So I think I know I'll participate in a 2.0, so I'll be able to like do a fancy name for my domain name for my portfolio. But yeah, hi Ola. Hi Ola, can you hear me? I'm disqualified. Hey. Oh. So I've been disqualified to participate in the hackathon. So with the power vested upon me, I think we're calling this session to an end. Thank you all. But yeah, I don't have the power to end the session. But I would like, are you on the call? Let me see. Let me confirm if you're on.
Hi.
Okay, perfect. Since don't worry, Timothy, it's not you. There are two Timothy. I'm Timothy, you are Timothy. But since you're a Timothy with a zero, I'm a Timothy with a hole. So not you. I'll give a minute, everyone.
Hi, Timothy. Timothy, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Ola. We can hear you. We can go on.
Yeah. What was the question? Sorry. Hello, can you guys hear me?
Yes. Timothy was calling you up for the information you have to pass across.
Oh yeah. Yeah, regarding the leaderboard. Yeah, so if you notice, when you check the leaderboard, there's been I would say significant change, especially with the the deployment count, which ultimately affects your ranking, right? So we noticed some people were spamming the deployment, right? So and it wasn't it wasn't showing a true representation of the how do I put it, the commits, right? So we are really particular about the commits, not how many times you actually deploy. So there was actions were taken to take that into consideration, just to allow fairness, right? Yeah, so I think that's it basically. So what you see on your dashboard, it's actually your commit. That is the actual one you the actual commit you make to your GitHub repository or Bitbucket or whatever Git server or provider you are using basically, right? So that is actually what counts as commits. So essentially what we are trying to say is when we say 10 commits, it's not actually 10 deployments. It's actually commits, like how many times, or you've pushed 10 times to GitHub, right? That's it basically. If you have any question, I'm open for any questions.
Okay. Do anyone have any question regarding leaderboard? Ola is here to answer it. We are we beat over time. Yeah, if you have any question regarding leaderboard, I think this is like perfect opportunity to ask about. I think I saw like a couple of a question around it earlier on the charts. Let me see. Okay, not like a big question, like what's up with leaderboard? Okay. Yes, I have a question. Okay, Elizabeth, if you like unmute yourself and ask.
Okay, hi Timothy. Good evening. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, thank you very much. My question is about the leaderboard. So I actually understood what Samuel just said. I've been able to make about 15 commits, but what I'm seeing in the leaderboard is just 5 commits. So I wanted to know if it's been updated or something.
Yeah, so it is also I think one thing I missed out is your commit actually commit first and then deployment secondly, right? So your commit actually needs to trigger a deployed application. So what you're seeing basically on the dashboard are commits that have triggered a successful deployment. So if you are seeing 5 and you've made 10 commits, there's a high chance that your 10 commits 10 deployments based on your commits are failed, and you only have 5 successful deployments, right? Which could be the reason why, or which is the reason why you are seeing 5 instead of 10 or 15.
Oh.
And also we need to, and also your commit has to be on the branch that you have while you are trying to connect your GitHub to your Git provider to to or where you're trying to connect PipeOps to your Git provider, the branch where you've selected for PipeOps to always deploy from, right? It has to
Yeah.
be to that branch.
Oh, okay. Cool. That answers my question. Thank you very much.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's great. I think like we have come like to the end of our session today. I was just going to the chat and I've seen that Alex dropped a link for like a quick support. So to those who are looking to have a quick support regarding what they're building and issues they're having with PipeOps, you could definitely just jump into the call. It's like a 20 to 30 minutes support call. So you could definitely just join in if you have any question you need support regarding what you're building using PipeOps. Thank you, Jadesola, for joining us and spending time with us. Sharing from wealth of experience regarding building products and just focusing it on around hackathon. We usually we totally appreciate the time you spent with us, and to everyone who joined us during our morning session and this evening session. Well, we really appreciate it. We're looking forward to seeing everyone on Monday. I think we're having a session on Monday. I think that's great around around design, right? And trust me, you don't want to miss that session because we are having no, I'm not doing spoiler alerts. I'm not doing spoiler alerts. When you see the link to RSB for a Monday session, please do it RSB. Maybe you might not see the person. But yeah, I'm not doing a spoiler alert today. But yeah, thank you all for joining us and have a great evening. Please do it like relax, take some time off. Like I said earlier this morning, don't just build tracks in hours. Take time to rest a bit while you continue to build. Bye. See you all on Slack and also Monday at the office hour.